Good morning, guys. Good morning. It's little after 7. It's Grace Talks time. My name is Beauty Kotela. I have the privilege, basically weekly, of hosting these Grace Talks. And what a privilege and what a blessing it is for me to be able to be with you this morning on yet another, ladies, highly inspiring conversation. For the past couple of weeks, we have started a series where we are celebrating each other. We are celebrating our women. We are celebrating the work that they're doing. We are celebrating the footprints of God in their life. We are celebrating our dispensers of grace. And in that process, getting inspiration for our own journey with God, for our own journey towards living our best lives, fulfilling the purpose of God in our lives, honoring Him, and being a blessing to humanity. All right, if you're joining us for the first time, my name is Beauty Kotela, as it is put in there. I get the privilege of hosting these Grace Talks. Grace Talks is a program of the Theatre of Grace International, and that is a community of women from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Eswatini, and other neighboring countries, Lesotho, etc., etc. All right. And this program, Theatre of Grace, is an initiative of the Real Village, a Pan-Africanist non-profit organization whose aim is simply reconstruct and empower Africa through love. All right, let me get on with it. The first thing we do is to greet. And so if you are joining for the first time and you have not done the right thing, please do it. You greet us and you tell us where it is that you're joining us from. For example, there we have T, my PAP, she's here. From Hanover, my lioness, the front seat has been taken. Morning, T. I hope all is well. Hanover, and my lioness here in the house. Thank you so much. My sister Nomsa, who I got to see in person in Bloemfontein last week. She's here. Molweni Eswatini. I hope we say that. That's how we say it. All right. Starch is here. Oh, Ongs. Ongs, morning, Ongs. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, Sissy. Kiana is here. Good morning, my sister. Good morning, somebody joining us from the Facebook group. Good morning. East London, Lebu is in the house. Good morning. Dumi is here, as to be expected, joining us from Durban. All right. Morning, Dumi. We will not ask what you are doing there. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome, Bulelwa. Good morning. We have Sioyo joining us from Cape Town. Good morning. Siana is here. Thank you so much. Egoli Sinbulisile. Morning, Kitu joining us from Poch. All right. Sanbonan Eswatini. Good morning, Nomsa. All right. Okay, sisters, good morning. All right, so that's what you do. You greet us and you tell us where it is that you're joining us from. And then the next thing that we do, and I promise you it's going to be the case, you will want to share this with your friend. All right. But the best thing to do is to bring your friend here now so that they can listen live, so that you do not have the task of going back to them to say, hello, this is what has happened. So my lioness has shown us how it is done. You tag someone that is so that they can come now and be able to listen. So you tag them either wherever it is that you're joining us from, you tag them. If you're joining us from YouTube, you can also just copy the link and paste it on someone's WhatsApp or someone's whatever page so that they can be able to come here and be blessed as well. All right, listen, if you are here, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook and you've never subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do us all a favor and go and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification as well, so that when we have shared some content, you also then get to be notified. All right. I'm also welcoming the names that I put up here. Amanda Bisholo joining us from Epitoli, Molondombi, Molosis, and Mercy. Greetings from Joburg. All right. Now, I think it's a little bit too unkind of us to let our guests sit outside for too long. So I'm going to, without wasting too much time, I'm going to put our guest in so that she can be part of us and we get on with this Grace Talk. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. And so this morning, we have as a special guest this beautiful young lady, dynamite of a woman, you will see just now, Nonhlanhla. And she calls herself Whip, and I'm going to ask her to explain that even as we get going. Her middle name is Whip, but Nonhlanhla Mthembu. Good morning, sis, and thank you so much for joining us on Grace Talks.
Good morning, beauty. Good morning, and thank you so much for the welcome. I am excited to be here. I've been listening to you as you speak, and I can tell that this is a fun house. I can tell that this is truly a home of grace. So excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. It is one thing we do exude here because we've benefited from it so long, and that is the grace. We are gracious as a people because we are all here walking recipients of the grace of God. Okay, now I'm tempted to start with this whip, but I don't want to start with this whip. You can tell us where you want to bring it, but for me, it's the most exciting thing about the work that you do. But I want to just share the following with the ladies in terms of your profile. All right. And I'm just going to share these things. And then as we go along, we will unpack them, but we will go somewhere. Okay. So Nonhlanhla, ladies, she is a radio and a motivational personality. She's an MC. So, and she's based in Joburg. So those of us who are in Johannesburg, ladies, it would be nice to connect. She's a coach. I love the word. She's a development coach, all right, change assistant, as well as a mentor, which I absolutely love. She's a speaker, internationally speaker. She's a trainer, a facilitator, a TV writer, and producer. And lastly, for now, she's also the founder and MD of Women in Progress, and that is WHIP. All right. And so, Sissy, we see this big profile, and I'm sure it doesn't fully capture you because one can never capture what you've done for so many years. And I always then ask this question when we start. You didn't start there. You started somewhere. So I don't know how far back you want to take us as to where did it all begin. Before there was Nonhlanhla, the MD of WHIP. Before there was a TV personality, facilitator, coach, and mentor, which I absolutely do as well and love. Where did it begin? I don't know how far back you want to take us.
Okay. I am going to take you back to almost 30 years back.
Okay.
And I really do hope and believe that we can cover enough to tell the story. But what I love about God's footprints, and I loved that in your presentation, I love that in your introduction that you said we are looking at God's footprints in our lives. And I'm going to really try and highlight some of those big and huge and remarkable footprints that God has in my life. So the story takes us back to a girl pregnant at the age of 14. So this woman in progress started way back. It actually started as God formed me before planting me in my mother's womb, right? But to the best of my recollection, I think I wake up a girl at 14 and pregnant. And a journey starts there that I would later discover that it is actually a woman in progress that was seeing the day. So yeah, Nonhlanhla falls pregnant at the age of 14, and my son is born when I'm 15. So what then happens is that there's a change that is happening in my life. And I would later see it when I look back. But then it wasn't the best of times when I looked back to that moment.
Yeah.
When I look back to that day when I was told, and listen to me, I'm saying I was told I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Meaning at 14, I couldn't even comprehend what was
No.
happening, right?
Yeah.
The last
You're a
time
child at 14.
Yes, the last time I checked, I played with a boy. You know, they mean
Yeah.
it, right? Because I really did play with a boy at the age of 14. And then I'm pregnant. But then years later, I look back at my life and everything that has happened, which I'll also try and summarize. And I realized that God was with me even then. A lot of people still find it amazing that I would be so confident in saying that God was with me
Oh
even
yeah.
back
Oh yeah.
then,
Oh yeah.
right? And one thing that brought me closer to God was forgiveness.
Okay.
So forgiveness was our first date, real first date with this man that I would get to love so much. This man who has displayed his love over my
Hey,
life for so many years. So our first
hey.
date was at a point of forgiveness because I looked back at my life and I said, God, I wronged my parents. I wronged myself even. I stole my youth from myself, right?
Hey,
And I
Nkosi
had
yami.
to reach back and write a letter to that 14-year-old and say, Nonhlanhla, I am sorry I took your youth, right?
Hey.
I am sorry I made you, I turned you into a bad example in your community. So the reason why I'm doing things like confidence coaching at this moment is because I had to fight to be recognized. I had to fight to have friends because there's parents who felt that I was not good enough to be friends with their daughters. Right.
Yeah.
And what
Because
then
they were
happened with
limited.
me is that I would buy friendship, I would force myself into groups, but I knew that there were children who were actually punished corporal. You know, when we talk about corporal punishment back in
Yeah.
our days,
Yeah. Yeah.
bashayelwa ukuthi they were with me during the day, right? And I had to live with this anger in me. I had to live with this forceful nature that I had in me. Little did I know that God was even using that to build my confidence because I had to walk back in school and be referred to as a mother while I'm 15 and trying to regain my life.
Hey, Nkosi yami.
As I say, God was with me throughout. Did having a child at 14 make me change my ways and be a perfect girl, as the world would refer to? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It really didn't because I still continue to find myself in one mess after another, one mess
Yeah.
after another. And the reason why I say my forgiveness from God is what has carried me to this day is because if I were to walk with the shame of the things that I've done in life, I would not even deserve to be sitting here and speaking to you. But the only thing that qualifies me to sit here today and even be able to share my story is because I was forgiven.
Hey, forgiven and
And
free, my friend.
forgiven and free. So, of all the things that describes me, you can forget everything that Ubeauty has listed on my profile and just say, this is a forgiven woman. And that is what best describes me.
Wow. I love what you say when Nonhlanhla, this is a good place to start because not only are you forgiven, but you also had to forgive yourself. I love, and I mean that's a fresh practice that you've now introduced in passing to us, that of writing a letter to your young self. You know, because sometimes in most of us, that's where it went wrong, and that's where we lost our confidence and never regained it. Because we made a mistake in our young days and we just were never able to recover from that. So I love what you're saying, that when because even though we accept the forgiveness from God, many of us, but we don't get to the place where you forgive your own self
Yeah.
for what you have been able to, for the decisions that you've made, whether you were young or not, and you're fully conscious. As you say, you were just playing with boys. And of course, our parents, they don't unpack things. They just say that. And when your young mind just picks up this little thing and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And I want to move from this point, but I don't want to miss the parenting opportunity as well. Because here in this group, I told you there are young women, there are some members of who are young here, but there are also young mothers, there are middle-aged mothers, there are makulus here, we've got grandmothers that come here who are raising daughters. And the way in which we sometimes do things and the things we say, out of hurt, out of anger, out of lack of knowledge, may sometimes do more harm than good. We are trying to do the right thing, but we do more harm than good. I mean, the whole idea of the community, and it was common, it is still common, that ningadlali nala mntana. Yabona la mntana ningadlali naye, and full la mntana kabani apha. And of course, while they are trying to save their children, they are tainting you. You want to speak to that?
Yes. So, one of the worst things that could happen Actually, not that could happen. One of the
Mm.
worst things that are happening in our communities is that we find teenagers who continue to have child after another after another. And it's
Yes.
because when they had the first one, they were told that they are done. It's done. You will never get it right. You are a mess. You are this, you are that. Children
Mm.
have been called names after
Mm.
names for
Mm.
having a child, as
Mm.
wrong as it is. And that is why today, Women in Progress, one of our primary assignments is to teach young girls to not even get to where I got, but to
Mm.
those who already have. One thing that I do, and I
Mm.
preach it to all parents: let us
Mm.
hug them back to love. Let us
Mm.
hug them back to their self-worth. Let us
Mm.
hug them back to forgiveness. Because
Mm.
what we do is that we shut them out so much, they end up feeling ukuthi ayiseke into ezolunga, nothing can come right of me. I might as well continue in this journey.
Mm. Mm.
But then here's where we get it so wrong, that we go back to hate the very God who creates life.
Mm.
Most of those children don't even get to embrace their children. I suffered that as well. I would want to hide my face every time I
Mm.
took my son to the monthly checkups
Mm.
at the
Yeah.
clinic, because you're always looked at as this dirty child. You're
Mm.
always looked at as this, and everybody wants to call you names. You end
Mm.
up not embracing this life that you have, because they are a symbol of disgrace. They are a
Mm.
symbol of shame to you, right?
Mm.
For 7 years, I did not embrace my son. I remember when he turned 2 and my grandmother had organized his birthday party. I was 17. I actually left home, jumping the fence from behind the house to go and be with my friends, because I did not care whether his birthday happens or not. To me,
Wow.
he was a symbol of shame.
Wow.
And
Wow.
every time he said, Mama, I hated
Mm.
the sound of it.
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
how far it goes. If we as parents are not going to give our children a second chance to pick themselves up.
Mm. Mm.
Discipline, yes, but discipline with love. Do
Yeah.
it like God. Do it
Mm.
like God. That's what God did to me. He
Mm.
embraced me back into his arms, showed me my worth, and here I am today, standing in that very same worth.
Mm.
Yes, everything that I've done is out there. Everything that I have done, you can be able to count. And some of these things, I even talk about them. Some of them are
Mm.
hidden. Did I
Mm.
stop there? No, I did not stop. You know what
Mm.
then happened? My next pregnancy, I had an abortion. There was no
Mm.
way I was
Yeah.
going back to a
Hey,
family,
Mr.
to a community that will
Hey.
judge me all over
Mm.
again. I
Mm.
had an abortion. And those are some of the things that God has forgiven me from. And I've
Yes.
had to write a letter to that seed that
Mm.
God formed before putting it in me, because those seeds are the very
Mm.
seeds that when we pray for our own lives, we say,
Mm.
God, you knew me before you formed me in my mother's womb. But I took that
Mm.
very thing that he formed before putting it in my womb, and I killed it.
Mm. Mm.
And the
Mm.
way the world has taught us, ukuthi, it is an it is not an it is that very thing that
Life.
God formed before he put it in me. And I had to
Mm.
find myself in a place where,
Mm.
after he has forgiven me, I had to
Mm.
face that child again and say, I am sorry I cut you short because of my
Mm.
selfishness. Because as
Mm.
much as I still say the excuse is I did not
Mm.
want to be judged, the decision
Mm.
still lied with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The decision still lied with me, and I'm taking that responsibility by forgiving myself and moving on in peace, knowing that the cross is still relevant even in my life
Hey, my
today.
friend.
The
Hey.
cross is still, that blood is still pouring out for me
Mm.
even to this day. So those are the
Yeah.
things that happen. There's a lot of
Mm.
children who go on to have those abortions after abortion, because all
Mm.
they know is that I can't even go and face this
Mm.
community. What are we
Yeah.
saying? about what God has formed before putting it in their wombs. Yes, I know the act of receiving the seed was wrong, but the seed isn't.
Yeah.
The seed isn't. And that is what we should embrace more. So I'm saying to parents, discipline loving back, discipline by giving their worth back. They've lost it, yes. Remind them where they lost it. Yes, when we get in the streets as teenagers, we forget our worth. Some of us don't even forget by then. Awuyazi nokuyazi worth yabo, because we were growing up in situations where love was saying, okay, Nonhlanhla, go to school. That's what Gogo would do. Go to school, have food. Let's go to church on Sunday. And it's beautiful. But as parents, I think we need to go back to the Bible and raise our kids by just informing them and telling them who they are. Because most of them get into these things not even knowing what their worth is. It's only when they come back to God, and then God takes this book and say, read it. And it says to you, you are worthy, you are beautiful, that I loved you before I formed you, that you are wonderfully made. Imagine if our 10, 11, 12-year-olds grew up with that knowledge now.
I'm one of the things I battle with is tears, and as I grow older, the tears just keep coming. And I turned 45 on Friday, so I cry now, and I'm starting to lose the shame over it. I love the balanced way in which you are presenting this to us. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to give you a bigger mic. We need to give you a bigger mic. We need to put you on a bigger platform. We need to send you to schools. We need to send you to churches. We need you to send to places where because there is almost like that interface where mothers lose daughters or daughters lose mothers. There is that interface where literally we lose each other. And in our humanity, we do these things and we're trying, but we don't always get it right. And what I love about what you're doing, and of course it takes experience for where you are now, is that you are able to take. I'm listening to you, Nonhlanhla, taking full responsibility for your decisions. Or even though you were young at that stage and you do not know what you're doing, as Christ would say on the cross, that forgive them for they do not know what they do. But I'm listening to you taking full responsibility of those decisions, even at that time. But I'm also listening to you and pleading with us, imploring us as parents, as the community, dare I say, my friend, even as the church.
Yes.
Because we as the church sometimes can be the one place. There's someone's daughter, that's a young lady in our church. She's the only one I know that did this. And I've been in our church for many years, that fell pregnant and continued to go to church. She fell pregnant, but she continued to go to church. She said, I don't know. I mean, I'm 45, so I've been to church for a long time, but there's only one girl that I know that fell pregnant, but she all the processes of the church still ran, but she did not stay at home. I don't know what it took for her to do that. So sometimes even as homes, as families, even as churches, the communities that are supposed to be, be there to support, are there to we judge, and so they run away from us. And of course, in that process, they run the risk of running away also from God and not hearing Him, because we are the representation of God. So I'm so thankful for this balanced approach. And the comments, my friend, are just running. And so I don't even have time. One of our friends says, how to discipline with love. She says, I've tried, but we get rejected. And I want to just pick this up, and I don't know if you want to comment on this. She says, I'm really losing my child, and I don't know what I can do anymore. And this is at the stage now where they are no longer babies. They're still young women, but they're not teenagers anymore. You can't make them do things, but you still want to build things. I don't know if you want to comment on that before we move on. But the comments I'm putting on there, just to let you know that the conversation is going. The ladies in the community we are receiving you very well, my friend. If you spread the fresh air.
Thank you so much. So I've just seen here from Nomonde, and before I try and respond to that now. If you are in touch with Unomonde, please do connect her with me. I
I
do
will definitely.
help parents connect with their children. I know how the age gap, yet teenage would.
Yeah.
I know how challenging that is. Let me tell you one thing, teenagers, or as teenagers, as I refer to myself, because to my babies, siyalingana sonke. To us teenagers, we know that we are the most misunderstood of the existence of human beings. But what I would first like to say to Nomonde, let's go back to basic. Let's go back to basics. And how do we go back to basics? Help your child be accountable, not to you, but to God. I love your statement. You say you have tried. I really do love parents who try.
Yeah.
Try and try harder. But I'll tell you one thing, at the end of our trying, God takes over. I did not do anything myself. That was my doing. God did it for me. And it's when I started making my own children and even teaching the youth that I'm mentoring to be accountable to God. What we then do is that we fight our children with our own experiences. Remember what? After what I had done, I really did not want to see my daughter go through the same thing. So here I was fighting my own battle through my child. She's 20 today, and sometimes we look back at her teen years and she says, Mom, you were so hard on me. But I was also intentional about being a good girl. Why were you so hard on me? And it's because I was scared. I was scared that the
Hey,
me
so
that I once was could come out of Umtanan
hey.
Futi, because that's what the devil does. When he realizes that he has not done enough with you, he takes the very same pain and
See,
puts it in your next generation. And that is where we need to stand in the gap and say, God, we are going to make our children accountable to you. We were accountable to the world. We were accountable to our communities. We were accountable to our parents. But we are saying we are going to make our children accountable to you. First, teach your child self-love. Let them be selfish about themselves. And I know, Nomonde, this is not a once-off thing. And that is why I am willing to take you through this journey with your child. I can tell you now, I can assure you, when we start looking into your child's situation, we are going to realize that whatever it is that they are doing that is not pleasing to you, it is not pleasing to God, it is because at some point they lacked love. At some point they lacked affection. They lacked attention, and it's not your fault. It's not that you have not given it enough. The world has confused our children so much that it makes them think that all the better things are out there, only to find that all the great things are in them. And that's
Hey.
where we need to help them reach deep into themselves. It is not a one-day process. Parents, I want to tell you that, but start by taking it back to God and take that child back to God. You know,
Hey.
we still have families where when a child does wrong, the mother will say, I'm going to tell your father, because fathers are known to be
Yeah.
good with disciplining. Do that with your children. Tell them you're going to take them back to God. Tell them
Hey,
ukuthi
I'm gonna tell your father.
NgesiZulu sithi ngibatshela ukuthi uzoyobaceba, and literally
Yeah.
do that. Go to God, ubacebe, and tell on them. Tell God,
Hey.
God, this is what is happening. And I'm not saying, Mina, as a parent, I'm 100% correct. We are not. We are not.
Hey.
You will see, Nomonde, I can tell you can come back here and testify after our sessions that you also found out where you were doing it wrong. Because sometimes as parents, we just don't want to relate, we just don't want to accept the fact that we are sometimes wrong. We do it wrong.
Because we are
We do it
human.
wrong.
Yeah.
And we need correction. We need to accept that we are wrong. It took me so long to start apologizing ebantwaneni bami. But there were times when I had to sit them down and apologize. Just, recently we've had to sit down and I've had to apologize to them about my financial lifestyle. which is not the best. And God is helping me through that. I've been trying to help myself. I've been trying to fix myself. You know that thing where you'll hear motivational speakers say, fix
You can
yourself,
do it.
fix yourself. We cannot fix ourselves. We depend on God. We need to go back to Him and say, God, financially I failed. Like, do it for me. And I've had to be honest with my children and say, guys, Mommy has actually really messed up over the past few years. And Mommy's getting back on track and God is helping her. While Mommy's in rehab, be considerate. And see, that could change a whole lot of things. I'm just making that example, which is in a financial state, but with every other thing. No matter if you were shouting, no matter if you were beating that child, get back to them and tell them, good, you know what? Mommy's going to try a new way of doing this. Work with me here. But never ever, noma ngabe uthetha kangakanani, never ever finish that argument without telling them that you love them. They might not respond immediately. They'll probably take time to respond because that's a language that they don't know, but start using it.
Amen.
Whether you are like me, you slept, because sometimes I slept without even saying a word. The minute I've explained why I was slapping you, trust me, I've had to learn the hard way. I will hug you. I will still give a hug. And I'm doing that because I have experienced that. I have experienced that. God has hugged me so many times. Dirty as I was, wrong as I was, cruel as I was with some of the decisions that I made, God would hug me.
Wow, I want us to go there, but I just want to put a pin on this. You said a number of powerful things now in this past 2 minutes or so, but I want us to go to that turning point in your life. And Smons, we will connect you. We'll connect you. And ladies, I think, because I know Smons is just a representation of many of us. We will get to that point when Nonhlanhla, I'd love to know if it's a point or if it's a season, if it's a period in your life where you turned the corner to where you are now, from that teenager who made those mistakes and was battling with issues of identity and issues of forgiveness, to where you found forgiveness, and almost to where this woman in progress that we now are so blessed by this morning, where she began. But I want to just, the number of powerful things that you said, and one of them is that, and in the past, this was safe, this was okay, because maybe communities were not as depraved as our communities are starting to become, where we used our communities as the standard. In my language, and I'm sure you've got it, Nani, and so often our parents, when we fell, when we made a mistake, they were not just dealing with us and the pain that we have caused to us and the pain that we have caused to the family. They were looking around as well as to it's going to reflect badly on us, on me. And often the mother of the boy that would have caused the pregnancy starts to point fingers at Gumdana. So the whole way in which we were doing it as the community, even as my parents will then go to my boyfriend's home to say that he has married, he has caused your English. Somebody please translate. Where my parents go and say that their son has made me pregnant, the language we would use, the language we would use to tell what has happened. And even if the family then says, okay, we will marry, then posture, we say, okay, so that so even the manner in which, the language which we used was saying so much to the young people that were involved, but most importantly, it was to the girl child. And of course, it wasn't doing what you were saying to us here, that you would bring back with love. It was not embracing. So some of us never fell pregnant out of fear of bringing ihlazo, a shame to our families. And some of us fell pregnant once, and you, as you've given us the example, but I cannot, for the second time, even if it happens, because that's the problem. That response doesn't fix the behavior. It doesn't fix the behavior because it doesn't go where the root of the problem is. It just sits and it's hacking at the leaves. So I continue behaving like that teenager, and so I may continue playing with boys and make the mistake, but I can't face the shame again, and so we abort without even thinking. And when we are older, as women trying to make it in life, we are haunted now by those. So you've said so much here, and it's almost like peeling off the layer of some of the wounds. And here's the problem:
Yeah.
if we don't peel them off, we will parent with those wounds, and will parent them from a position of fear. I don't want them to experience what I've experienced. But you don't even know how to coach them away from that trajectory where so I want to coach them this way. You coach them with fear. And I'm raising boys. I know the places that I fear. And even if I smell something that sounds like it's gonna send them to a direction that I just lose it. So yeah, you've just peeled off serious things here in our life. But let's go to the turning point.
Yeah. Whew. At the age of 32, one would think, and then again, it's how we as a society, because remember, I'm also part of that very society that I keep referring to. So here's a 32-year-old frustrated. And I'll tell you where the frustration starts. I now look at my life and I want to design it the way it suits me. Right? But now, as I face my future, God reminds me, and He does that. He does that. If He hasn't done it with you, ask Him to do it. Whoever's listening today, if God hasn't done that with you, ask Him to do it, because a lot of people normally don't understand it, but this is how I put it. God reminded me of my former self. You see, I am deliberately using the term former self. God reminded me of my former self. I was in a desperate situation. I had decided that, okay, now I'm going to go back and be with the father of my daughter. Because now I have 2 children. So my daughter was born when I was 23 as well, still at school. Actually, she is my story that I refer to as 4 minus 3 is equals to 2. That does not make sense. But remember this, and I'll explain it. 4 minus 3 is equals to 2. It's only that can only be possible with God. It's not possible in mathematics. But here's what happens. Pregnant 4 times.
All right.
Minus 3 abortions.
Wow.
And I have 2 living children. I have 2 living children, and I call them that. They are my living children. The other 2 did not make it out of my hands. Because it was these hands that were responsible for that. But here's what happens. 23, I am pregnant again, another abortion. When that abortion happens, I get to the hospital and a premature baby girl is born. That abortion product is 20 years old today.
Wow.
So I have attempted that abortion with the aim to get rid of that child. She's alive today. We write that story together because we can now sit and talk about it. Because when she was 18, I had to sit her down and say, my child, I am sorry. I wanted to take you out, but you are God's voice to me saying, enough with my seeds now. I don't care what is it that you're scared of. I was alone in Pretoria. My family didn't even know that was happening. When I called my grandmother in hospital to say, here's a child in an incubator. Please come and pick me up. Come and take me back home. They said, we know that you can always make stories when you want money, but this one is a stupid one. There's no way you have a child. You were here in December. We saw you. There's no way you have a child in January. And I said, I was attempting an abortion and that child is alive. And I remember for those 8 days when I sat there looking at her in that incubator and I said to God, God, if you did not allow me to take her, please don't take her now, because every day I went in there and there was a parent who has lost their child out of an incubator. You would go in there and see an empty incubator and you're not sure if it's yours or it's the other parent. But when you see a parent cry, just know that their child lost the battle. Mine made it out of it. But here's what happens. At 32, I look back at my life and I say, God, I want to do things right. I want to be with the man who fathered this child, even though we haven't been together for 10 years. My friends, my peers are getting married. They are all settling in their homes and in their lives, but nothing is happening with me. Please, let us be together as a family. And I move in with him. I move in with him and I'm desperately looking for marriage. Desperately looking for marriage. That marriage is not for me, it's not because I'm in love, but it's because I want to give my children a normal and stable home. And then God said, look back at what you have done. And when I look back at what I've done, I saw the children I got rid of. When I look back at what I have done, I saw the marriages that I ruined, right? And here I was desperately looking for this man to actually go home and do something in peace, whatever. No mangabe singaba just a small celebration, just so that I'm also seen as a married woman and I give my life a normal and stable home. Something that I did not have, because remember, I was brought up by my grandmother. And here's a question that God raised in my life, that Nonhlanhla, as desperate as you are for umshado, are you ready to face your former self? Because ladies and gentlemen, in one of the things that God has forgiven me, God has forgiven me for being the other woman. What God taught me in our conversation around that, he said to me, Nonhlanhla, woman to woman pain hurts. Woman to woman pain hurts. God makes us take accountability, guys. I had one of her children. I destroyed an institution that he created. There's a lot of things that God everything, actually, not a lot of things. Everything was formed by God. But when he comes to marriage, he calls it's an institution that he created
himself
to embrace what he wants to do with humanity, love and increase. He created marriage specifically for those things, for love and the increase of his people on earth. And here I was at some point in my 20s when I decided, no, now that I've got 2 children, no one would even think of making a decent wife out of me. I might as well just have relationships. And that is why today I sit with young women and I tell them, if you ever find yourself in a situation where somebody makes you think that you are better than his wife, or that you can be in a relationship with him while he has a wife, run away from that situation, because that person is not respecting themselves, is not respecting their wives, but more than anything, he is not respecting you.
Absolutely.
Because I have been in that, and God said, take accountability, go back. And I'm not saying I'm sending you back, but all I'm saying is that go back and be the light with that very same darkness you were living in. As the other woman, go back and be the light to others. And I then decided to formally register Woman in Progress, because here's this 14-year-old girl who has moved from being a teenage mother to being a young mother again while she was trying to have an abortion. Here's this woman that before she's even 40, she has fallen pregnant 4 times and had 3 abortions. And one of them, God had to take a stand and say, you know what? I know that sometimes I allow you guys to go on and do things the way nifuna ngakhona, but this time I am going to stand in front of you and say, not with my child, not with this seed. Right? And he did that in my life. So when I formally registered Women in Progress, I was in tears. I was crying. It was hurting. And I decided I am going to use this pain to heal somebody else. But little did I know, God was actually healing me. Because the minute I opened up about these things was the minute God said to me, now I know you will not go back. Because a lot of us have been forgiven by God. But the reason why we don't want to come out with those things, we fear going back again. Ukuthi the world is how when you are no longer the other woman, what are you doing? But now that I have become accountable to self, self will remind me next time a married person approaches me and I feel good, oh, this one is nice, because flesh will do that. The world will do that. These men, and I'm not saying these men will do that because yibona phela aba wrong. That is why my message, that is why my message, even in the book that I'm writing, says, if I said no, that's the heading of that chapter. If I said no, there would have never been that. And that is why when I talk to young women, I just say no. Because if you say no, where is the relationship going to come from? Where is the relationship going to come from? Absolutely. If you say no, we empower them by saying yes to them. We empower them by allowing them to say, oh no, I'm going through some problems in my house. We allow them by letting them hide their status from us.
Open the door to that.
Know, as a woman, your instinct will always tell you. You will know, you will see the sign. I'm sorry if you go in and you are really not aware, but the minute you realize that this person is somebody else's husband, this person is somebody else's father, because these people neglect their wives, neglect their children because of us. Because we said yes. Because we said yes. So when I registered the Woman in Progress, I was really in pain. I wanted to cry. Not that I wanted to cry. I was crying a lot in my corner. And I knew God had forgiven me. And I'll go to the very same Bible. It would make me cry even more when I read how he was persecuted because of me. But crying alone in my corner was not going to help the next person. I had to come out and cry in public. And cry in public. And when you cry in public, this is what you do. You stand a chance of being ridiculed all over again. You stand a chance of people not even believing your story and pointing fingers at you. But that's what happens. God's forgiveness carries a lot of judgment over our lives. But if you are confident that he has forgiven you, you will continue to be this passionate about this story, not even caring if there's a person who will say, oh, actually, I know her. I know she's been with this man and that. I'm no longer there. I have moved away. God has taken me back. God has embraced me. Does that mean I am perfect? No, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things that God is still working on in Biloyam. And that is why I will always be a woman in progress until I am back home. And when that final embrace comes, I will say to him, thank you for telling your story in Biloyam.
Wow. Hi, John. This morning we are keeping it real. We are keeping it real. And you've answered, as I'm allowing you to continue, you've answered some of my questions, because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, Nonhlanhla, but a book. I'm an author, so I have this thing with books. And so I was so glad that as you were talking, you're like, okay, in the book that I'm writing, because we can never have enough time in these kind of platforms to be able to tell fully the story. But also when you write the book, you continue to speak, my friend, even long after you are gone. For a girl from somewhere in the middle of Limpopo or the Eastern Cape who's going through something and they stumble across your book and they get your story. And from it, they find life. And from it, they find their own hope. And one of the things that you've also answered, I was going to ask, is the courage to not only open up about your story, but to continue telling your story. Because from where I'm sitting, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful, because in it, in your story is life for so many people. Right? And you know what? Because sometimes, like, no, there can't be one woman who has made all of those mistakes, but it is possible in the world that we
It
live
is
in, my friend.
possible.
It
It
is
is
possible.
possible.
And in a given time, we've made at least 3 of those mistakes. We've fallen pregnant. We've been with other people's husbands. We've even committed abortion, and we've done more things. I've seen it happen, and in all types of societies, from the society in the world and the society in the church, we've done it. But it takes a few courageous people to stand and say, "This is what I have done." But having done it, this is what God has done. And I'm telling this story so that you know, and one of my strong beliefs, and I say this to the young people, is you don't have to make mistakes to learn from the mistakes. Allow us to share with you our learnings from the mistakes that you have made, so that you yourself can maybe avoid some of the mistakes. So I'm so thankful that you've come to us this morning and almost bore your soul, bore your scars, and in them, I promise you, in them you find healing. And the comments keep coming up, and somebody's saying this, and I had this in my mind. I was thinking about this. So there's a sister of ours. Her name is Sarahina Mayoyo. She's got an incredible story. She's got a book. The title of her book is "I Fell in Love with My Abuser." She tells the rape story. And so someone is saying, my friend, please connect Nonhlanhla with Sia. And Sia has also written a book. And so I'm saying to you, we are into books. Sia's book is Beyond Broken. All right. And in her story, she tells the story of her marriages, abusive situations, and incredible daughters of God. These women are telling their stories. These women, like you, are changing our lives because of the story. So someone is saying, please connect Nonhlanhla with Sia and Sarahina. They can change the world together. I love this. This women of God are the groundbreakers and game changers. And we need that. Christ needs to come. And we can no longer gloss over things. We have got to talk about things. We've lost Nonhlanhla because we have connection issues, and the devil is a liar. We are going to finish this. So I'll take comments in the meantime while we're just getting Nonhlanhla back. I think somebody is saying, to God be the glory, woman of God. You are the winner of God, period. I agree. Ndumi is here. Let's thank Ndumi for putting us in touch with Nonhlanhla. Ndumi is the one that put us in touch with Nonhlanhla. Hey, my lioness, this is so true. We are all women in progress. And this is for me why I love women's ministries. And as the years go by, we are becoming more and more real, where it is no longer I just got a message from my son. He's watching. Oh, Lord. It's no longer fashionable for us to hide things anymore, because the hiding doesn't help. The hiding does not help. And the hiding does not tell the point of transition. The young women, the children, the ones that are coming before us, they know that there was a story, and then they see us here now, but they don't see the transition. And in hiding the transition, we are also hiding the grace of God. So true, my lioness. We are all, I certainly am a woman in progress. And perfection will only get when we land on the sea of glass, when we shall be glorified. We are so real. Sandile is also joining. I am a woman in progress. Sisi, you are heaven sent this morning. I'm hoping that she'll be able to join. Again, I would hate to close these proceedings here. Majere says, the woman in progress. What a message. It is indeed a great message. So I'm not sure what's happening now. Connection was a problem before we started, but we were able to solve that, because I did want us to come in and to wrap things up neatly with Nonhlanhla. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to join us again. But while we are waiting for her, I just want to make an announcement for those of us who have been, we've been having a lot of, this is a Theatre of Grace conference announcement. We've been having a number of inquiries from people asking about day visitors, right? Can they come? Because the conference resort is full, and we've got an overflow guest house nearby, which is almost full as well. So now we are no longer taking people that are going to stay in at the conference. the Theatre of Grace conference in October, but day visitors are welcome, all right? And the cost for day visitors is 250, for those of us who are wanting to come just for the day, all right? And then some people are paying the cost for day visitors and traveling from Joburg to come and visit. Now, please, the 250 is for the entire conference. So it's the 250. You are free to come on Friday on the Sabbath. Well, you are free to join us from Thursday evening on the Sabbath and on the Sunday, Friday, as well as Sunday. So it's once off. But when you choose to come, is then up to you. But it's a once-off fee of 250. Ladies, I'm not sure what's happening with Nonhlanhla. But can I just get a what is the word I'm looking for? An indication from you, if we do not get to finish this in terms of connectivity not coming back to us, would you like, I know I would love to have a part 2. I'd love to have a part 2, even if we were able to finish, where she can now come and do the work that she does with us. Now we were talking more about her and her story, but where she can now come and coach us as women on the whole issue of women in progress and how we can play out so that we can be able to impact our young daughters and our young sisters and our young friends. So anybody here that feels like, you know what, she must come back, we need a part 2. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, all right. Okay. I love how overwhelming you ladies can be about the comments. I have them here. Okay, she's back. She's back. So I'm going to put her back in. Sisi, I see the Braseda has been misbehaving. You are now on the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. May I ask you a favor to turn the phone to this landscape like this, so that the picture comes out just a little bit better? Just to turn it around and we'll see. This is the challenges of live broadcasting.
You were saying?
So if you can turn the phone, yes. Just turn it and let it stand.
Or you want me to put it landscape?
Yes.
Oh, now bigger pants.
Okay. I think your auto rotate is not activated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think, look, let's leave it like that, because I don't want to mess with what this now, because I think what we want to do now is conclude. But I want to show you something while we were waiting, okay? Because we are hungry for so much of what you have to say. We are ready for your book, my sister. Write your book and come here with your book, okay? And there we go. There we go. And also looking at the time, so I asked the community the question, would you like to have Nonhlanhla back? I cannot tell you how many people. I don't know if you can see the comments. We want a part 2, yes and yes. Part 2, yes. Sia, the author of Beyond Broken, yes, yes, yes. So Sisi, we are just so blessed by you this morning, and we will not allow the enemy to interfere. I don't know how many yes part 2 are here. Somebody's even saying yes, she must definitely come back. Please.
I
please,
owe you that much.
Yeah,
no. Yes. I really do owe you that much, and I think we are going to have a better connection next time, because I see the phone actually works even much better than my laptop in this case. Apologies, guys. I know there's this small boy called the devil. He always wants to mess up things, but he never wins, and I can promise you that much. We will have a part 2. I also felt that I had actually not gotten to the jinx of what I really wanted to share with you guys. I just love the fact that you're able to reach deep into me. And I find myself having mentioned so many things that I thought, okay, this I can skip. Let's just talk about this. This I can skip. But now I've had to really bare my soul like you are doing. One thing that I respect about God is that when you ask him to take charge, he really does. And sometimes it is out of your comfort zone, but I'm more than comfortable to do this with you ladies. I really do appreciate that a lot.
Thank you. I'm looking forward. I have to meet you in person. I
look forward to meeting you too.
I need coffee with you. I want us to conclude now, because at least we've set up an appointment so that we can have a part 2. I want you to do 2 things for us. one, to give us concluding remarks, but also to pray for us. I always love, I receive prayers from people as blessings that God gives us. And I am so, I've been battling with tears, and I'm trying, because in my crying, I don't want you to feel like I'm feeling sorry for you. Because I'm not, because I'm so inspired by you, but tears just come. And what I want to say to you is that I'm moved by the anointing of God in your life. And I'm grateful to God that He does not leave us as long as we are breathing, because not that, judging by the mistakes that you have made, and as human as you are, the mistakes that you are likely to make even in the future. This, at a human level, we would have said, okay, no, this one, I shall no. She has done too much, and now she's frozen. And this is not enough. But God doesn't. If people like Peter are anything to go by, our God never gives up on us. As long as He has given us breath, not only does He want us, but He wants to use our story. People like Paul are anything to go by. God can take murderers, my friend, and make them huge beacons of hope, and use them to spread the gospel. I think let's close it. The connection is starting to make a mess here. Sia says Nonhlanhla is an inspiration. God bless you, sis, and God expand your territory. She could not have put it in a better way. We can hear you, but the picture is frozen. But you can conclude. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, all right. I'm just quickly going to read out, and apologies for the frozen picture. Maybe it's because I've just opened my Bible now, which is always my parting words with you. I was sent to share this, and I really have to share it with you. It's a letter that always gets me out of trouble. It's found in the book of Philemon. There's only one chapter there, and that chapter was written specifically for me. But I'm going to read from verse, let me see, I won't read the whole thing. I'm just going to read verse 12, where Paul is writing to you, everyone who's listening at my voice right now. Paul sent me to come and read this letter to you. And from verse 12, he says, I'm sending Nonhlanhla back to you now. With him goes my heart.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, man. We are like brother. Now, I want to then go to the book that she was reading. Okay, all right. We are, I'm not going to say we are under siege, but we have a gentleman here that is wishing to throw some stones here. She's in the book of Philemon, and I'm just trying to see now what chapter she was, what verse did she start on? Pause, plea for Onesimus. Oh yeah, it is for, oh Lord, it is that text. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read, ladies, I'm going to allow me to conclude. I think I'm not going to say what she was wanting to say, but I'm just going to read what that chapter. It is Paul's plea for Onesimus. Go and read from verse 12. Okay. Thank you so much. And so she was saying, I'm sending Nonhlanhla back to you, sending my very heart. Okay. I would have been glad to keep him or to keep her with me. In order, okay, I see she's back. Okay, ladies, apologies for these glitches. You can read, my sister. I was reading it, but allow me to. You can read it.
Yes. So I'm just quickly going to summarize it and not go back there.
No. Please read it. Please read it.
Paul is saying, I think when I go back, when I go to my reading,
go to your phone. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
can I read it for you, because I've got it here, and I think there's something here that we need, that God wants us. Yeah. Okay. So from verse 12. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm just gonna read from verse 12. Okay. I am sending Nonhlanhla back to you, sending my very heart. I would have been glad to keep her with me in order that she might serve me on your behalf during my imprisonment for the gospel. Of course, this is Paul. But I prefer to do nothing without your consent, in order that your goodness might not be by compulsion, but of your own accord. For this perhaps is why she was parted from you for a while, that you might give her back forever, no longer as a bondservant, but more than a bondservant, as a beloved daughter, beloved sister. She says, brother, especially to me, how much more to you, both in flesh and in the Lord. I don't know if you want to continue, but I just thought, let me read it as it is.
Yes, please just continue. There's a part that I want. If you just continue reading down.
Okay, you let me know when to stop. So if you consider me your partner, receive her as you would receive me. If she has wronged you at all or owes you anything, charge that to my account. I, Paul, write this on my own hands. There you go.
Thank you. So that book summarizes what God did or has done for me. Embraced me back so much so that he said to the world, whatever it is that Nonhlanhla has done, to that woman that I tried so much to go back and apologize for and say, I am sorry for taking your husband. I am sorry for ruining your family. I am sorry for causing your children to have nights where their father was not there, or even budget not working accordingly because he was spending money on me. I am saying, I am sorry. God is saying for all of that.
That to my account.
God is saying for the abortions she had, for having a child at the age of 14, for not being considerate to others, because there was a time when my confidence made me say to people, do you think when looking at that, because I was now using what God has given me to bash other people for all of that. God is saying, charge it on his account. God is saying, throw all of that at the cross, because today all he wants me to do is to be used to glorify him. And if I can have one person going back to this scripture as well and finding their embrace and finding their hug, when you read that chapter, consider yourself being hugged by God. And that is my parting message to you. My story will never make sense, not to the world, because the world still does not make sense of the story that happened on the cross. But if you, in any part of you, know that God exists, just know that a woman who has done as much as I have done can stand here and say, I am forgiven, I am loved, and I owe the world nothing. All I do is I owe God my testimony. And that is it. That's what I wanted to share with you. What I am going to do now, I am going to have a talk with him like I always do. And we know that as we pray to God, we also give ourselves an opportunity for him to actually embrace us even more. Father, I thank you. I thank you, Almighty God, especially for these ones. You would not have given me their hearts, their souls, and their ears this morning if it was not in course of your glory. Mighty God, I thank you for using my story yet again. And I know you are not done by the longest short. You are not done at all. But thank you again that today you made me relevant to your word. Thank you again today that you allowed our story, because this is our story. It is not mine. You allowed it to touch another person. As you continue to give them those hugs that you gave to me, please remind them that anything that they have done is charged on your account, and they carry no burden of sin. All they carry now is a leaf of forgiveness that only you can give. Thank you for your peace this morning. Thank you for fighting even all the disruptions that we might have had. I know that your word is out there. It wasn't me speaking, it was you. And I still continue to honor you for allowing me to be a vessel of your glory. And I'll continue to be proud as your forgiven baby girl. Please touch every woman and every man on this platform this morning. And please tell them that you sent me just so that I can remind them that you love them dearly and you count it not on them what they might look back and think it was a dark season in their lives. More than anything, you have allowed our dark season to make you shine. And again, I see you in my face as I speak. and I beam with joy, knowing that you're looking at me and you're listening to me, and you know that today your daughter listened to you and did just as you requested. In the mighty name of my Savior, my friend, my Father, my Daddy, Jesus Christ, I thank you. Amen.
Whoa, amen. You know, yeah, we are closing. We are going now. What you've done in bearing your scars, you have revealed the cross. He stands paramount this morning, even as you were revealing your scars in your life. And we got an opportunity to go and check out our own scars. But what we have seen is a sign in the shape of the cross. What we have seen is a bleeding man. And that line from Philemon, charge it to my account. Ladies, I do not care, and I shouldn't even care how dark your past is, how badly you might have messed up. This morning, I think God sent her daughter, Nonhlanhla, to remind us, charge it to the cross. Charge it to the cross. Charge my own issues that I have done in your own life. Charge them to the cross. But you know what? He has charged. Let's let it go. Have a blessed week, guys. We will see you again next Sunday. Nonhlanhla and myself are going to discuss, and I will let you know soon when she's coming back. Nonhlanhla, because there are many people that want to get hold of you now after this for further coaching, mentoring, and all of those things. Where do people find you? Are you on social media?
Yes, I am on social media as Nonhlanhla Whip Mthembu. So if you look for Whip Mthembu, actually, not Nonhlanhla, I think it was only on I think it was only on Twitter, but yeah, Facebook and Instagram is Whip Mthembu.
Awesome.
I'm also not one to shy away from giving my number, because I know that I cannot have boundaries for anything that God wants to do for me. I always respect him when he makes people reach out to me for help, because I know he's using me for that. So my number is 060 915 8119. Again, on social media, I always try and respond to inboxes as quickly as I possibly can, but normally with my number, it's quicker. So I'll say it again, 060 915 8119. I see you got it up there. That's my number. I thank you so very much. And yes, we are going to discuss this. I am more than ready. I'm ready as in now to take on the next assignment, because I know akawuqali umsebenzi angeke awuqede, and we will allow him to do so just as well with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Stand Sam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was a refreshing, inspiring morning. May you have a blessed week, because you started your week here at the Theater of Grace, and I know you will. All right, so we're going to end the broadcast now. Blessings, 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 blessings. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, thank you.